big revelation from him is that Prince Harry doesn't even have William's phone number anymore. That is, of course, a mortifying revelation for the Duke of Delusion. William was fuming, but was particularly upset about what Harry said about Kate. He is fiercely protective of her and will find it hard to ever get over it and have a proper relationship with his brother again.
Exploded because obviously his plan, and again this was the difficult bit, he couldn't understand why he was evicted from that particular place.
They choked off any information Harry and Meghan had, which is all the currency they had to sell. They have no more royal news to sell, and they're slowly going down the tubes. They've lost everything.
Prince Harry has such a cheek that he is now piling the pressure on Catherine, the Princess of Wales, to step in and try and save his failing relationship with Prince William. Not understanding that it's over, brother. It is gone. Finito. Just accept it.
For a long time, many people believed there was still one person inside the royal family who hadn't completely given up on the idea of repairing the relationship between Prince Harry and Prince William. Even as tensions continued to grow, Catherine, Princess of Wales, was often seen as someone who valued family above personal disagreements. But according to recent reporting, that chapter may now be over, and the reason has sparked another wave of discussion about whether any reconciliation is still possible. According to reports shared by Dan Wakeford, who cited sources said to be familiar with both sides of the ongoing family divide, Catherine had remained the last senior royal willing to leave the door slightly open for Harry. While Prince William was reportedly no longer interested in rebuilding trust, and King Charles was said to be focusing on his own responsibilities and health, Catherine was believed to have held on to hope that two brothers might eventually find a way to speak again. That reportedly changed after Harry made public comments about King Charles's cancer.
Why would you ever want Harry around when he's going to insist on bringing his wife, who once made you cry, then lied about it to Oprah, and always seems to have varying recollections? Not to mention, you really don't want his wife around who would sell clothing to the effect of what to wear to meet your evil sister-in-law.
Expert Dan Wakeford says Harry wants a reconciliation. He regrets the things he said in the book, the documentary, and doing that again is off the table. Yeah, right. What's heartbreaking is he kind of has hoped that William would stumble a little and reach out and need him. I don't know if I believe this. He's got no avenue to communicate with him. However, the expert claimed it cannot happen as Harry reportedly no longer even has William's phone number.
While those remarks generated different reactions among commentators, some sources claimed they deeply affected Catherine, especially after everything she had experienced with her own health. According to those reports, that became the moment when her outlook finally shifted. People said to be familiar with the situation claimed Catherine reached a point where she no longer believed it was her responsibility to keep trying to bring the family back together. One reported account even suggested her view had become, "This is on you, Harry."
But if you're the royal family, and I know this for a fact from talking to people close to them, right, there's a lot of wariness about this. Right? They don't trust them, period. They just don't trust them. I mean, Harry to them is like Brooklyn Beckham is to the Beckhams now, right? I don't think anyone could be a worse son than Harry. Brooklyn, I take my hat off to you, son, for spoilt brat, entitled behaviour. And the common theme is two American women, but we'll come to that later. But in fact, you've had Wallis Simpson, they're 3 for 3. The issue here is trust. Right, so obviously the king, as a father, would love to see his son, right? Obviously he would. He doesn't want to have this on. Charles really doesn't like confrontation.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't like everything to be chaotic and dramatic and combative. He would just like it to be calm, so he can get on with doing a very good job, by the way, as our monarch, I think. And I think the trip to America was astonishingly successful, and his greatest moment, actually, as a royal. So he's doing his stuff. He just wants the rest to just be calm. So I don't think it really, for him, he's like, well, obviously I'd like to see my son. But the problem is everyone around him is like, well, how do you trust him, sir? How do you trust this son of yours who every single time you see him in the last few years, everything gets leaked? Well, right? And then you add Meghan to the mix, who said she'd never come back to the country, who has spent years trashing our country, who's branded the royals a bunch of callous racists.
Whether that description is completely accurate or not, it matches what several royal commentators have been saying for months. The person often described as the family's peacemaker was no longer believed to be trying to bridge the gap. If those reports are correct, it marked a major turning point in a story that has been unfolding for years. Another claim attracting attention is the suggestion that Harry has been trying to reconnect through indirect channels rather than speaking with William directly. According to the same reporting, there have been discussions that Catherine is viewed as the one person who could still reach William if she chose to. That does not necessarily mean she intends to get involved. In fact, several commentators now question whether she has any interest in stepping back into the middle of a dispute that has only become more complicated over time. Some royal observers have also compared this situation to previous reports involving King Charles, where proposed family meetings were said to come with several expectations regarding security arrangements and other conditions.
The same thing he did with King Charles a couple months ago when he let it be known through a source, wink, friend, wink, that he would be happy to accept an invitation to Sandringham, but of course he would only go if his wife and kids were there, and that.
Oh yeah, and if there's full security paid for by people like me.
And if he knew who else was going to be there. So it's the same kind of BS that's happening right now.
Those reports have fueled debate among royal watchers, with critics arguing that attempts at reconciliation have often appeared far more complicated than they needed to be. Supporters, meanwhile, see those discussions differently, pointing out that security has remained an important issue for Harry and Meghan. Regardless of which view people take, the disagreement has continued to dominate headlines. Critics have also pointed back to the lasting impact of Harry's memoir, Spare. According to palace sources quoted by several media outlets over the past few years, Prince William was especially hurt by the sections discussing Catherine. While many passages from the book generated public debate, commentators have repeatedly claimed those references caused some of the deepest personal damage within the family. Reports have consistently described William as being extremely protective of Catherine, making it especially difficult for him to move beyond what was written. Adding another layer to the discussion, some commentators have suggested William believes the years of intense public pressure placed an enormous emotional burden on Catherine during an already difficult period of her life. That perspective has never been officially confirmed by the family, but it continues to surface in royal reporting.
He's really the only one who wore the Nazi uniform and made those comments about his fellow soldiers, calling them packy heads and all the stuff that he did. He's actually the only racist in the family. And even that he hasn't taken responsibility for. He blamed that on William and Catherine.
That's the deal. We all know people who have had cancer or who may not be here anymore because of cancer. And we also know their number one enemy is stress.
Yes.
So why would you invite stress again into your life, especially stress that you do not trust, that have proven in the past hyper untrustworthy? And not to mention, why would you ever want Harry around when he's going to insist on bringing his wife, who once made you cry, then lied about it to Oprah?
If that truly reflects William's thinking, many observers believe it helps explain why the relationship between the brothers now appears more distant than ever, and why hopes of an easy reconciliation seem increasingly unlikely. If recent reports are accurate, the issue is no longer simply about repairing a relationship between two brothers. Many royal commentators now believe the conversation has shifted towards something much bigger: trust. Once that trust is damaged over many years, several observers argue it becomes incredibly difficult to rebuild, especially when young children are involved. That is why some royal experts believe Catherine's priorities have changed. Rather than focusing on bringing the family back together, they suggest her main concern is protecting Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis from becoming caught up in more public controversy. Whether or not people agree with that view, it has become a recurring theme in discussions surrounding the royal family. Several events from the past continue to be revisited whenever this topic comes up. One of the most widely discussed involves the bridesmaid dress fittings before Harry and Meghan's wedding.
From speaking to people around the royals, they're very concerned about this. right? They just think she will come in and she is getting desperate with her failure of her business stuff, and so she knows she needs to be seen. I mean, when was the last time you saw them with any A-listers? They're not. The A-list world's made a calculation. If you go with those two, you're never going to be invited to the real stuff.
Well, I think the last one was that Netflix party, wasn't it?
And desperate. To your point, Piers, desperate equals dangerous.
Different versions of what happened have been shared over the years, and the disagreement became even more public after the interview with Oprah Winfrey. Meghan said Catherine made her cry, while later reporting and other accounts suggested the situation unfolded differently. Because the people involved have given conflicting accounts, exactly what happened remains a subject of debate rather than an established fact. Even so, the episode is still frequently mentioned whenever commentators discuss the relationship between the two women. Other controversies only added to the growing divide. Critics have pointed to promotional material connected to Meghan that some interpreted as referencing difficult family dynamics, while attention also returned to claims published in Omid Scobie's book. The book generated enormous headlines after differing editions reportedly included names linked to allegations about conversations concerning Archie's skin colour. Those allegations have been strongly disputed, and the entire situation became one of the biggest royal stories of the year. Regardless of where people stand, many commentators believe it significantly increased tensions within the family.
Basically, I've been told, just feels that Charles is just making the same mistake all over again with Harry, and he feels that Harry's betrayal, particularly, this allegation that Catherine asked bigoted questions about a child's skin colour, particularly this allegation that Catherine asked bigoted questions about, a child's potential skin colour that came out in the Omid Scobie book that was then pulped. He thinks it's unforgivable.
Harry's memoir, Spare, also remains a major talking point. Among its many personal stories were passages involving Catherine that drew widespread media attention. Some royal commentators have argued those sections left lasting resentment, particularly from Prince William, who has long been described as highly protective of his wife. While readers have different opinions about the memoir, many observers believe it made repairing family relationships even more difficult. At the same time, Catherine faced months of intense online speculation surrounding her health. During that period, countless rumours spread across social media, with some users questioning official announcements or promoting unsupported theories. The amount of online discussion became enormous before Catherine publicly shared her diagnosis. Critics have also questioned why some of the harsh commentary circulating online was never publicly challenged by people connected to the wider royal debate. Whether fair or not, those conversations continue to influence how many royal watchers view the situation today. Because of everything that has happened over the past several years, some commentators argue that William and Catherine now approach family gatherings very differently. Their view is that any private interaction could quickly become the subject of worldwide headlines or renewed public speculation.
Let's say I don't like you, and I have to be pleasant to you, but if you feel slighted because perhaps I'm not as effusive as you'd like me to be, then what are you going to do? Say I'm a racist? That will happen again, because in her mind, if we look at Meghan, in her mind, no one could possibly not love her.
Felt like Meghan would use the children as a human shield, because who's going to boo children? Unfortunately, we saw an idiot booing children at King Charles's birthday parade, and we saw Catherine's death stare at them when they booed the royal family as they passed. But the strategy that Meghan might be using the children as a human shield so people won't boo her or yell at her in public.
Even an ordinary meeting could end up being analysed from every possible angle, making genuine reconciliation even harder to achieve. Another moment that fueled discussion involved the recent wedding of Peter Phillips. Harry was notably absent from the guest list, leading to fresh speculation about how distant family relationships have become. Around the same time, reports circulated suggesting Harry had chosen not to attend because of concerns surrounding media coverage. However, other royal commentators disputed that version of events and claimed he had not been invited in the first place. As with many royal stories, the different accounts have kept debate alive. Lady Colin Campbell later claimed that, based on information she received from people connected to the event, neither Harry nor Meghan became part of the conversation during the celebration. While that account has not been independently confirmed, it has added to growing speculation that parts of the royal family may now be focused less on revisiting old disputes and more on moving forward without reopening them.
Common unspoken consent. Harry and Meghan's names were not mentioned, that they are persona non grata to such an extent that everybody understood it would be a solecism to mention the names of wait for it, I made a note of it, the tosser and the dosser.
If there is one thing many royal commentators seem to agree on, it is that distance between Harry and much of the royal family now appears greater than ever. Recent family events have only strengthened that impression. Rather than focusing on old disagreements, several members of the family seem determined to keep major occasions centred on the people being celebrated instead of allowing long-running royal tensions to dominate the headlines. That became another major talking point following Peter Phillips's wedding. Prince William and Catherine attended the celebration, and media coverage largely focused on the bride, the groom, and the guests. Harry's absence immediately sparked fresh speculation, with royal commentators offering different explanations. Some argued the decision reflected just how strained relationships have become, while others suggested organisers simply wanted the attention to remain on the wedding itself, instead of the controversy that often follows Harry and Meghan. Whatever the real reason, the event quickly became another example used by commentators who believe the divide inside the family has become increasingly difficult to ignore.
So, yet again, Harry and Meghan are seeking to obtain the high ground and establishing how morally superior they are, when in fact everybody knows only too well that they are in the gutter, and Harry did not plan to duck his cousin's wedding. You can't duck that which is not a part of the occasion. Harry wasn't asked to the wedding. Harry was never going to be asked to the wedding. So how he can announce that he planned to duck that which he was not asked to? Oh, sorry, I forgot. Meghan has a reputation for crashing things.
Another issue frequently raised by royal observers is trust. Over the past several years, private family disagreements have repeatedly become public through interviews, documentaries, memoirs, and media reports. Because of that history, some commentators believe senior royals may now be much more cautious about private conversations. Their argument is straightforward. Once confidence has been broken, rebuilding it is an extremely long process, particularly when every interaction has the potential to become international news. Lady Colin Campbell was among those who questioned reports suggesting Harry had personally decided not to attend the wedding. She argued that the situation looked very different from how some early reports described it. As with many royal stories, however, none of the key figures involved publicly addressed the claims, leaving room for continued debate rather than clear answers. Alongside the family drama, attention has also turned toward Harry and Meghan's professional future. Various commentators have pointed to the end of several high-profile business agreements and suggested the couple are entering a new phase of their careers. Others disagree, noting that both continue to pursue media projects and charitable work. Even so, discussions about their financial direction have become increasingly common, with many analysts wondering what their next major move could be. Some royal commentators have even suggested that these changing circumstances may explain renewed interest in improving family relationships. That remains only an opinion, not a confirmed fact, but it is one theory that continues to circulate. Others reject that idea entirely, arguing that personal family issues, not financial considerations, are the true motivation.
Clearly, there's an ulterior motive there, and in my opinion, it's Harry's and Meghan's decline. Their Q score is what we call it in Hollywood. Their popularity score has taken such a nosedive in the last 6 years. commercially, reputationally, Harry and Meghan need a little royal magic for them to continue to try to commercialize that proximity to the British royal family.
When they sold those hateful stories and shared those secrets of their own family, that's a hard thing to come back from. Once you lose the trust, it's gone. You can't get it back.
He has one hell of a nerve to be trying to stand on the moral high ground that Peter had sold photographs of his first wedding to Hello when Harry has sold out his family in Spare and to Netflix with not only a joyous occasion, but a whole heap of lies.
Without direct confirmation from Harry or the royal family, those competing interpretations remain speculative. Another topic generating discussion involves the future of royal titles and roles. Commentators have long noted that once Prince William eventually becomes king, he will hold significantly greater responsibility over the institution and many of its decisions. Because of that, some analysts believe the current relationship between the brothers could have lasting consequences for years to come. Exactly what those consequences might be remains unknown, but it is one of the questions royal watchers continue to debate. Recent public appearances have also fueled conversation about Harry and Meghan's changing public profile. Media outlets have closely analysed attendance at various events, audience reactions, and the couple's separate engagements, leading to renewed speculation about both their professional direction and their personal dynamic. While isolated moments can easily be interpreted in different ways, many commentators believe they reflect a period of transition rather than stability.
$6 million a year. $6 million a year to cover all their expenses. And up until now, their billionaire friends like Jamie Kern-Lena and all of them, and that Victoria Jackson woman with the makeup, have been letting them use their private jets and stay in their homes. But, you know, after a couple of years of being used that way, I'm sure they're getting sick of it.
Adding another layer to the story, royal reporter Tom Sykes has claimed that Prince William is increasingly concerned about how the family has handled ongoing tensions. According to his reporting, William worries that earlier approaches to difficult family relationships may be repeating themselves in ways that could create even more challenges in the future. Those claims have not been confirmed by Buckingham Palace, but they have added fresh momentum to an already intense public discussion surrounding the future of the royal family. By this stage, many royal commentators believe the biggest obstacle is no longer whether Harry wants to reconnect. The real question, they argue, is whether Prince William has any interest in reopening a relationship that he reportedly feels has been damaged beyond repair. According to several reports, that answer has not changed despite ongoing speculation about possible reconciliation.
He thinks he can have his cake and eat it too. He can do whatever the hell he wants, and no one will stop him. And he may be right. They may not actually say anything. They may not take his titles away, but they will make them ineffective by never being in the same room with him again.
Don't forget, on Oprah, he called the royal family racist. He and Meghan both did. And then he sat in front of Todd Bradby and said, "We didn't call them racist. The British press said that." Even though everybody has all the recordings where he said it. He's already tried to roll it back.
One issue repeatedly mentioned by royal reporters involves the allegations that placed Catherine at the centre of one of the monarchy's most controversial debates. Those claims generated worldwide headlines and have remained deeply divisive. While the circumstances surrounding them have been widely disputed, commentators close to the royal family have consistently suggested that William viewed the situation as crossing a line that could not easily be forgotten. Whether people agree with that assessment or not, many believe it permanently altered his outlook. Several journalists have also described William as someone who rarely changes course once he has made an important decision. According to sources quoted in royal reporting, he is known for trusting his own judgment rather than allowing others to influence him. Because of that reputation, commentators remain sceptical whenever fresh reports claim someone might persuade him to rebuild the relationship with Harry. Their view is that if William has reached a final conclusion, very little is likely to change it. The same reports suggest that King Charles is also expected to keep a busy schedule in the coming months, making a private meeting with Harry appear increasingly uncertain. Royal commentator Paula Froelich has argued that expectations surrounding a summer reunion may be unrealistic. despite continuing speculation whenever Harry is expected to visit the United Kingdom.
There is a mechanism for stripping them of their titles. Why should they be allowed to march around the world with unofficial royal visits, making tons of money for themselves in the process without doing any royal duty whatsoever? Why should they?
Totally right.
It's absolutely outrageous.
And also, why should they have the titles of the children as well, Prince and Princess? It's a load of old nonsense. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
I thought they weren't going to use their titles.
They're not
children.
supposed to use the titles. That's what they agree.
Oh, she'll be using all the titles.
That's what they agree. But the fact is that they're going to come here. It's going to turn into a circus. No matter what anybody says, it will be the big moment. The King has had a gun held to his head. Effectively, they've said, we're coming over. All the leaks have come out to say they're coming over with the kids. Therefore, what does he do? He says, OK, you can use the palace if you give enough notice. But ultimately, how long will he spend with them? No more than half an hour if it happens. Will Camilla be there? Absolutely not. Will William be there? Absolutely not. Will they meet their cousins? No, they won't. So how much has been repaired here? Nothing.
As always, Buckingham Palace has not publicly commented on those reports. Attention has also turned toward Harry's planned appearances connected to the Invictus Games. While those events remain an important part of his public work, some royal observers believe they have also fueled renewed speculation about whether any private family meetings could happen during the same trip. At the moment, however, there has been no official indication that such discussions are planned, leaving most of the conversation firmly in the realm of media speculation. Another subject frequently discussed is the future of the Sussex titles. Some commentators have argued that removing them has become less important than simply reducing their role within the working royal family. Rather than dramatic constitutional changes, several analysts believe the institution has instead focused on creating greater distance. Whether that comparison is entirely fair remains open to debate, but many observers describe the current approach as one of quiet separation, rather than public confrontation. Beyond royal matters, commentators have continued examining Meghan's relationship with members of her own family, particularly her father, Thomas Markle. His health has recently returned to public discussion, prompting renewed media attention surrounding their long-standing estrangement. Over the years, both sides have been the subject of extensive reporting, and opinions remain sharply divided regarding how that relationship deteriorated. Because neither side has fully reconciled, the situation continues to attract public interest whenever new developments emerge.
The royal family will never let those kids in, because if you let the kids in, you let Harry and Meghan in. He's screwed his whole family.
Well, actually, to be fair, I did report this week that the odds are looking very slim that Harry will meet up with King Charles at all this summer.
I so hope you're right, Paula.
Yes, I think really what's happened in the last month, as I like to call it, the days of our Montecito lives, every week there's something else. So
there is.
These guys, they've just behaved so badly lately. And really, ever since they tore up the Sandringham agreement with that cover in People magazine, and really have just, with the monetizing of the children and the family, I don't think there's any way that Charles can meet with him, at least publicly. I do not believe he will show up to Birmingham.
Critics have also questioned some of Meghan's public outreach while pointing to the ongoing lack of contact with her father. Others strongly disagree with those criticisms, arguing that private family relationships are rarely as straightforward as public headlines suggest. As with many aspects of this story, much of the discussion is driven by competing interpretations rather than confirmed facts. Taken together, these developments have led many royal commentators to the same conclusion. Rebuilding trust inside the royal family may now involve far more than arranging a single meeting. From their perspective, years of public disagreements, conflicting accounts, and deeply personal disputes have created barriers that cannot be resolved overnight, regardless of how often fresh reconciliation rumours appear.
I wasn't too happy by the fact that suddenly everything they put in it, the refurbishments and stuff like that, well, all being ripped apart. And this was very much played out in the public domain by the royals.
Charles, who he was sort of watching forlornly, like he was the sort of like lover. It was weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nacho's really his only friend around there. So he's probably like, get off your horse and come talk to me. I'm still lonely. I've got no one to talk to.
After everything that has unfolded over the past several years, many royal commentators believe Catherine's position is no longer surrounded by uncertainty. Whether people agree with her reported stance or not, the growing consensus among several royal analysts is that her priority has become protecting her immediate family rather than trying to repair relationships that have repeatedly broken down. Supporters of that view argue the issue is no longer about a single interview, one memoir, or one disagreement. Instead, they believe it reflects years of public disputes, conflicting narratives, and a level of trust that has steadily eroded over time.
Was warned beforehand, and he was always told there are these certain red lines, and if you cross those red lines, it's over, and my God, he crossed them, you know.
Harry basically says he has more stories like this, that the public have no idea what truly goes on behind palace walls. I think we do, Harry, but the bottom line is nobody really cares anymore, given what you and your wife have actually said.
From that perspective, rebuilding those relationships would require much more than a conversation behind closed doors. It would take a complete reset, something many observers believe is unlikely under the current circumstances. At the same time, Harry and Meghan continue to attract enormous public attention, ensuring that every appearance, statement, or reported meeting becomes a major headline. Some people still hope that the family will eventually find common ground, while others believe the divide has simply gone on for too long. Without direct confirmation from the people involved, much of the public discussion remains based on reporting, commentary, and informed opinion rather than official statements. For Catherine and William, many commentators argue the focus now appears to be on stability, privacy, and raising their children away from unnecessary public conflict.
Just say also her whole brand is on family, forgiveness, love, right. And yet she won't talk to her own father, who just had a leg amputated due to a life-threatening blood clot. He's now back in the United States trying to get fitted for a prosthetic. She still hasn't reached out to him.
Everything she does, I mean, columns of the Times and the Mail, everything, are devoted to ridiculing Meghan Markle. And of course, that is terrible for her.
It won't allow Meghan to parade herself as a member of the royal family and the Duchess in Britain itself, to actually earn money and earn glory from having married the prince.
Whether or not that approach eventually changes is something only time will answer. But judging by the reports that continue to emerge, very few royal experts expect any dramatic breakthrough in the near future. As always with stories involving the royal family, new reports can quickly change the conversation, and fresh developments often emerge when least expected. Until then, royal watchers will continue following every update, searching for signs that relationships are improving or becoming even more distant. What do you think? Has the relationship between Prince Harry and the royal family reached the point of no return, or do you believe there is still a path toward reconciliation someday? Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who follows the royal family, and subscribe for more celebrity news, royal updates, and the biggest entertainment stories as they unfold. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Before you go, click on one of the videos now appearing on your screen for even more celebrity drama, behind-the-scenes stories, and the latest headlines you won't want to miss.